Hi there, and welcome to Saving Ophelia. My name is Thijs, and this is Ophelia. And today I'm going to tear out Ophelia's head. And, well, there's one slight problem here. There's very, very little space. Yeah, this is a very minimal toilet. Yeah, anything other than 5-year-olds won't be able to fit here. But as you can see, it's like less than a meter of space from wall to wall. And the same, obviously, is true over here. And I'm going to tear out this port side and hopefully dig my way onto the hull back here. I'm not going to be doing too much here on the starboard side because, well, let me see. Oh, I can zoom out a bit. Yeah. Can you see down here? There's a valve, a through hole for the toilet. And I'm not going to touch that. And that means that the entire toilet thing is off limits because, well, everything's kind of stuck together here. So I'll try to get as much as this as possible out, but this down here I'm just simply going to leave alone until I have Ophelia on the heart. And these space restrictions here, I can just barely turn around, means that I won't be able to record this. So I'll have to get dug in and then I can show you the results afterwards. Yeah, there's just no way I can place a camera here. So that's the way it's going to have to be. Before getting dug into the head itself, I decided to remove the door between the saloon and the head as it took up way too much space in that small room. Getting the door out of the frame, however, turned out to be easier said than done. For some odd reason, the screws turned freely, which wasn't really that unexpected, but that they still kept the hinges firmly attached to the frame even though they were spinning was. When using an electrical tool fails like this, I could usually get around the problem by switching to a manual tool instead. But in this case, it made absolutely no difference. Even with the increased control, the screws just kept spinning without moving outwards. In the end, I resorted to the trusty old persuader and simply tore the hinges off the frame. Well, I say simply, but nothing is ever really simple when you're on a boat and have limited space. With the door, which turned out to be quite massive and heavy, finally gone, I set about disassembling the head itself. So that was more or less everything that was loose enough to be removed with the with my hands and the good old persuader. Let's see what it looks like now. Well, that did give a bit of breathing room out here. It didn't make the room any larger, of course, but still a bit more space. Now to get the rest out, I think I'll have to resort to some gentle deconstruction and using the saw. But before I do that, I should probably move this crap so I can get rid of whatever I pull out here. And once I have this out, I should be able to start stripping the liner here behind it. And then we're back onto the good old insulation, the foam stuff. Not sure how much more I'll take over here. I think this cupboard, of course, maybe I'll cut into this over here, but maybe even the wooden parts down here, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Oh, for now though, I'll need to get rid of this. With all the scraps gone, I brought out the reciprocating saw and set to work. I had looked for ways to take apart the locker without trashing it completely, but apparently no one had disassembly in mind when the head was put together. So, let's see, that was all the stuff from the port side. Now there's just the liner left, and I better get rid of some of this stuff over here while I'm at it, otherwise I'll just leave it and then then it will stay there for quite a while. So I guess that's it now. So I kind of forgot to stop and show you what it looked like when I was done with as much as I dared remove from the starboard side, which wasn't that much, to be honest. But you can see down here, I'm getting rather close to this hose here if I dig into that wall. And well, I think this one, the connector up here is above the water line, but I'm not entirely sure. So there shouldn't be any water in that hose. You can see that thing here, but shouldn't be. And I do have a connector down here. That's most definitely, if you can see it here, and it's most definitely below the water line. So I'll leave that alone for now. But then I just started ripping out the liner over here, and we're basically down to just the foam, and it looked like there had been no moisture issues. You can see how nice it looks up here, but then then we got down here. But on the other hand, this has been a wet room. There's been a shower out here, so I don't know. Now I'll just rip this out in the insulation, then we can see what the steel looks like. Well, I probably should be wearing a mask, but yeah, you know the story. I forgot to bring one. Did remember the hearing protection, but forgot the mask. Anyway. Yeah, we can already see that down here the steel is slightly rusty, so there's definitely been some moisture. Again, this was a wet room, so not really that much of a surprise. Yeah, if you can see it, but let's see, point it downwards slightly. A lot of surface corrosion, but there doesn't seem to be any pitting. So again, good news. Surface corrosion is not a problem. We can remove that and repaint. Pitting could be a problem, but there doesn't seem to be any. That's odd. This is most definitely pitch, a tar-like material. So if there's been poured liquid pitch in here, then there's most definitely not going to be any rust, because that'll have just stuck like glue to the steel. There's just no space for any water to get down there. That's interesting. Then we go a bit further up and the corrosion stops. This is mostly just paint. So yeah, looks good. I'll just clean this up and then we can have a look again. So there we go. That was all of it. As usual, I stopped when I hit the water line because, well, you can see the corrosion stops up here. Well, the water line is probably down here somewhere. At any rate, I stopped when the corrosion stopped because there's no point in going further up right now. And if we look down here, there's a lot of surface corrosion. Let's see. But, well, it's not really bad. It's just red. And yeah, you can see the pattern in the steel, how it was rolled. And most of the paint even survived here, so it's really not bad. There's a bit of pitting very slightly down here, must have been wet for a prolonged piece of time, but anyway, it's not really bad. It's nothing that would indicate that we would need to replace steel or anything. Just need to be cleaned off and, well, repainted. So, like the rest of the hull, the only thing that's questionable is right next to the water tank, but even that doesn't seem too bad. So that's all I'm gonna have time for this time. I might do some stuff regarding CAD drawings and stuff like that, but I don't have any more time to do work on the boat, unfortunately. So, well, we got rid of the majority of the head. I don't dare touch this, but the entire port side is gone now. Guess that's a very good thing. So I'd better get down to the editing and compiling if I'm going to have the video ready for you guys for tomorrow. Well, for you guys it's going to be today, but anyways, I'm babbling. I'll get done. Well, get going. When I created this model last time, I knew that it had a bit of, well, a few oddities, because while we know that this isn't the hull, we just know that the hull is somewhere within this shape. And it's also a bit strange that this surface here isn't really the deck. It's more like a surface defined by the upper lines of the gunnel. Let me just show you the drawings. Here you can see that there seems to be a gunnel on this drawing, which is also a bit of an oddity really, because it's not shown here. It's shown as a zero thickness object, which you can't have. But this can't be the hull because, well, that would be too thick, and there isn't this much of a difference between the upper line of the hull and the lower line where it meets the deck. It's almost vertical at this point, so this must be the gunnel, and it's not shown here, but this line up here does define the surface of the model I just showed you. However, on this drawing you can clearly see that we have the deck line drawn in. It's this dashed line here because it's hidden behind, well, I don't know what you call this piece, but the piece of the hull that the gunnel is set on. And you can even see that there's the top line of the curved deck is shown here. So I would like this deck line to be drawn onto the model so I have the real deck. Well, I have the edge of the real deck really. So I'll put this drawing into this drawing here, just like I did the last time, by putting the drawing in as yet another canvas, and then project that line from the canvas onto the sketch that's shown from the starboard side. I'll just do that. Well, you can see I have a bit of an issue here getting everything to fit correctly. And I think, well, it might have something to do with the creases in the paper we noticed last time. And, well, also seems that things haven't scaled exactly right. Oh, we do get very close here. Let's see. Yeah, I do think that's close enough, really. I'll just draw in that line here, and it will extend a bit, and it won't be an exact match, but probably pretty close, and the size seems to be very, very close here, so I guess it'll work out. Anyways, I'm going to draw that line in and then create an object that I can use to slice this other component with, just like I did the last time. By the way, I intend to make these drawings, the one here I'm doing in Autodesk, and the ones I'm working from, I'm going to make those available on my Patreon side, so you can go in there and see them. And, well, you could actually probably download this and modify it yourself if you wanted to. But yeah, for now I'll just get this done. Well, it turns out that I have a bit of an issue here, because if I go to the starboard sketch and, well, go to edit sketch, then the last canvas I inserted disappears. You can only see the canvases that have been inserted before before the sketch you're working on was created. So I'll have to do a workaround here. What I'll do is, well, let's finish this one, and then I'll create a new sketch in the same plane as the old one. There we go. And then what I'll do is that I'll project the lines from the previous sketch that I want to work with, and it's just P. Then I can start selecting the geometry that I want to insert or project into the new one. There we go. Let's see. There we go. That's spline, that's spline, line here. I can zoom in and out as I feel like. This one, that one. That should be it. Do I have all the lines here? Does seem like it, doesn't it? Let's go OK. And that gives us an enclosed figure here with all these points. So that should be good. And if I go, well, I am editing that one, and here I can get that line in, which is what I want. So now I'll insert that line. There we go. Now let's just extend that line. So we have something to work with. And the same at the other end here. There we go. That should give us plenty. And now to define a block we can use to modify. Oh, I need to extend that one a bit. There we go. Now it's long enough. And then here. Yeah. What I'm doing is that I'm making this block bigger than the object I want to cut it out of, because, yeah, otherwise I'm going to have a bit of a problem here. I want to extrude this shape, so there we go. Turned blue. You have a enclosed surface now, which means I can extrude it and create the block that I want to have. I think I want to hide the canvases now. There we go. Finish sketch. So just like last time, I'll do the extrusion like this. I select what I want to extrude. I want to do that one as well. And oh, I need to make the bodies visible. Hide those ones. And I want to do symmetric, two sides. And I want it fairly wide, just like the last time. Make something that's a bit bigger than it actually needs to be. I want to create a new body. There we go. Now I have my body. That lower line here should be the deck line. So what I'll do is that I'll start out by, well, let's bring those components back so you can see that. I'll create a new body by using this one as a tool, and I'll create a body that's the intersection between these two. So I'll modify this target with this tool, and I just want the intersection, and I want that as a new body. Let's see, should do that here. Well, I get it as a new component. Either way, I have it, because you can see I can hide this here, hide that one, and then I just have this. That would actually be the gunnel, well, the piece of the hull that the gunnel up here is resting on. And well, let's bring that component back, because now I want to remove the same part from this one. So this one will turn visible. I'll again modify. That would be the target body. That would be the tool. I don't want a new component. And I want to do a cut. And I want to keep the tools. There we go. Now I'll hide that. We can see that this, that will be the hull, has been modified. And if I switch this on, I'll have this back. So this should be the deck line, or more precisely, the surface that's defined by the line from where the deck meets the hull, really. Then we have a curve here, which hasn't been drawn in yet. and I don't really have the measurements to do that, but this should be the real deck surface, more or less, and that would be the gunnel. That was what I wanted. So, well, I showed you how to use these tips again. I think, well, the way to do this wasn't anything new, but I hope that it's useful. Anyways, that'll be that for this time, and, well, I hope to see you again next week. Have a nice one until then.